Subtext is something that's used in stories to convey a message in a story. Sometimes they can be subtle, or in your face, or can just not exist, but you can make a headcanon of the subtext. Often the writer never says if their story contains subtext, maybe because it's not a very big part of the story, or to help you interpret the subtext to help you with personal issues. A story might have a different meaning to someone else. Beastars has many plot points, but something you see a lot is discrimination, and the first thing that comes to mind when you think of discrimination is racial discrimination, which can make sense in Beastars context with herbivores and carnivores, because in the Beastars manga it's more seen of a way you're born rather than a lifestyle. You can't really control it. I'm gonna say the obvious that it's a theory. I'm not Paru, I don't know everything, and I didn't write the story, so this is all speculation and probably more than likely not true, but that's the beauty of open-ended writing. From where I got the subtext of Beastars is that carnivores are a metaphor for drug addicts and herbivores are a metaphor for the victims, mainly drug addicts rather than just normal addicts of any other thing you could be addicted to, and I'll explain why it's specifically drug addicts later on. A common word used in Beastars a lot is withdrawals, which is associated with drug usage. Again, withdrawals doesn't just mean drug usage, but is heavily associated with it. The symptoms of meat withdrawals are the same as drug withdrawals. In some parts, Legoshi avoids Haru because he wanted to stay clean of meat. For a while, he was scared of eating or hurting Haru, and got very scared when he thought he killed her in his sleep. The same way a drug addict can get very angry or violent in an attempt to stay clean. Now, I don't actually know what the hell Paru was on when she wrote the Chimera part, but from what I gathered, it's a form of what you want to be, of what you want yourself to look like and act like, and it makes you stronger that you think you see yourself as that way. That's at least from what I've got. We only see Q and Legoshi's form, a herbivore and a carnivore. Q's form is a carnivore, which can symbolize temptation to take anything, or that she was an ex-addict the same way she was an ex-convict, or it could show how she felt better as an addict and what she feels like now, and that could be a reason why she was disowned. Legoshi feels more comfortable as a herbivore, which shows his characteristics, or not wanting to give in to his carnivore instincts, and in this case could show that he doesn't want to be an addict, or could show the days before he was one, or in another lifetime where he was one. And that does sound really far-fetched, but the imaginary chimeras are literally spiritual beings. The other theory is kind of proven, with his form looking more childish, and when Legoshi actually was a child. And you can argue saying that bunnies tend to have younger looking faces in the manga, but Q literally obviously looks adult by the face. With mixed species, I'm not very certain, but I have sort of a theory. But Lena was a mixed species, which could show people who are close to being clean, or people who need drugs to function. You can see her death as an OD or her killing herself. The same way she can't quit is the same way she can't get the scales off her skin. Her hiding from Legoshi could be a way of her hiding her using drugs in front of Legoshi, because since she's a half species, she could be half conscious of the actions that she's doing, but she can't fully control them, but she can prevent herself from hurting other people, which again is Legoshi's goal, to not give in to his carnivore instincts. With Melon, the case is a bit weird because he cannot taste food, which I guess you could say metaphorically because it numbed him. I can't really think of anything because his story is a bit vague, but him treating the Shishigumi the way that he did by making them not eat meat could mean something, but I can't find anything. Another argument you could say is that people aren't born addicts and people in Beastars are born carnivores, but I think it might be a metaphor for the parents, because the parents have to be carnivores for the offspring to be a carnivore as well. So maybe it could mean that they were introduced to it at birth and were just cursed to be addicts like them, or it's a disease like a virus that spreads. Melon does not see the appeal of meat, and he constantly tries meat and doesn't feel anything, the same way that I said that it could mean that they feel numb or that they function on it. The last part I want to talk about is the night market. Characters describe the night market openly, even though it's very illegal. The same way some people talk about stuff like that in real life. By the day in the Beastars manga, you can see it being talked more publicly rather than it being really taboo from the start. That's kind of everything. Again, it's these are just theories. I'm not part of it. I don't know what these mean. It's just something I cooked together, and maybe it could actually have some merit.